A new report published today, finally published after 2 years, has criticised both factions of the Labour Party, both sides of that party, over how they handled the issue of anti-Semitism under the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn. Well, Sienna Rodgers joins me now. She's a senior writer for The House magazine, former editor of the Labour List website. Evening to you, Sienna. Thank you for your time this evening. This report has been very long awaited, that's fair to say. What does it tell us?
You're right. This has been a really long-running saga with twists and turns, and this report was supposed to have been delivered 2 years ago now, but it's suffered numerous delays. Basically, it was commissioned to look into the leaking and the content of a really controversial internal report written by party staff about Labour's handling of anti-Semitism complaints. And this report was leaked online, and it led to loads and loads of legal troubles for the Labour Party because it had personal data and lots of allegations about former party staff members. And this Forde report that has been released today, it basically says a plague on both your houses in terms of the sort of factionalism in the Labour Party. It's said that it's received shocking evidence about Labour, and it's found that both factions treated anti-Semitism in the party as a factional weapon.
Does either side, the left of the party, the sort of more moderate side of the party, does either side come out of it worse than the other, or is it pretty damning, as you say, about them both equally?
It's pretty damning about them both, I would say, but I suppose within the context that we have now, which is very much every part of the Labour Party is really in the kind of hands of Keir Starmer. This current leadership really has its power over every single part of the party machinery. So the fact that this Forde report, which is independent of the party, the fact that it has come back and said, actually, there's a lot to criticise about the kind of party staffers who are supportive of Keir Starmer now, I think that will have been a bit of a shock for people. And certainly members of the NEC, that's Labour's ruling body, those who are supportive of Starmer have said, I'm not all that comfortable with some of the things that the report says.
Just on that, are there things in the report that will be worrying, that will be potentially damaging for Keir Starmer? Or is this something that you think perhaps he'll be breathing a sigh of relief over tonight?
I don't think he can breathe a sigh of relief. I think he will be grateful that the timing perhaps means that it's overshadowed by the Tory leadership contest and all the developments going on there. I think a lot of it, the current leadership will probably be able to say, well, we've changed the party's complaints process since this original report was written. A lot of this stuff is in the past, and we're improving all our processes and our culture, and we've worked really hard on that. That will be their response. But I think there are still things to answer for. I mean, the Tory leadership contest itself does highlight the fact that Labour really struggles with diversity at the top of the party. And there are things in this new report about Islamophobia and misogyny. And some of the people who really they're talking about here are Starmer allies. So that's got to be concerning for the current leadership.
Jeremy Corbyn, former leader, of course, he's also been commenting on this tonight. What's he had to say?
So Jeremy Corbyn has posted a sort of lengthy statement basically highlighting all the bits of the report that he agrees with that really line up with the kind of narrative that the Corbynites will favour. And really the reaction from Corbynites, some of them are a bit critical of parts of the Forde report, but overall they feel quite vindicated because a lot of the parts of that original leaked report, there are so many reports here, that original leaked report, a lot of that has been basically Martin Forde has said they were right. People were misogynist about Diane Abbott. People were racist about her.
And this is people inside the Labour Party, people paid for by the Labour Party, staff in the Labour Party.
Exactly. I mean, this is all about the huge battle there was between the leader's office under Jeremy Corbyn on the one hand and Labour HQ under Corbyn skeptics on the other. And it also confirms one of the things that Corbynites really kind of want to highlight, which is there was this sort of parallel operation being run, Ergen House, which really was funding the kind of campaigns and seats of people who were critical of Jeremy Corbyn, and they weren't telling the leader's office that they were putting these funds into those constituencies. So they really want to highlight that, and the Forde report has really said, actually, this did happen and it was wrong. It describes it as wrong.
It really is quite astonishing. And I was looking through it today. I think the thing that really strikes you is just how astonishingly divided the Labour Party was under Jeremy Corbyn. Do you think, as we speak, what are we, 2.5 years on now, is any less divided tonight than it was then, or perhaps even worse now?
I don't think we can say that it's worse. Clearly, factional divisions have not gone away. Nobody would claim that. I think the nastiness has died down simply because there aren't these sort of fights between, for example, Labour HQ and the leader's office, because Keir Starmer has successfully brought over the party machinery at every single level, and local parties as well, into his favour. He's really done, an excellent job from his perspective of winning back the Labour Party at every single level. So just by virtue of that, and a lot of the fact that a lot of kind of Corbynite members will have left the party or been expelled, that means there is less division.
Sienna, you know the Labour Party better than almost anybody. We've been talking about the Tory leadership contest in the last hour or so. Is there a candidate that Labour fears most of